What's up guys, Crossme here, back with another video. NA45, it's one of the most hated but also one of the most controversial weapons at the same time. And I have been using it for a long time, and I have to say that most people misjudge the weapon and many just hate for it on no reason. I know Prime NA45 was in fact a yeah, it was a monster, but after the nerfs, I feel like this gun is pretty balanced, and while most people avoid it, I thought I would make a guide on how to use this. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, before we jump into the gunsmith of the gun, we need to talk about the perks that go along with it. Now, if you're playing any like hardpoint or SND, I think the best perks should be these. Now, you could replace the restock with something you like, but I personally use restock due to, well, trip mines, because I love annoying people. Apologies, but it's just fun. But regardless, you can replace the restock with something else you want, entirely fine. But the other three perks, I would say to keep it the same, because flak jacket helps you survive the NA45 blast radius even if you are within it, so you wouldn't die but the enemy might. And gung ho will help you reload, obviously gun, while you're moving around, so you can actually dodge enemies while the gun is reloading, because remember, NA45 only has 2 bullets, so it's a high risk high reward gun. And the demo export over here is just present so that it can increase that damage of the NA45, considerably reducing the hit mark that the gun produces. Now, talking about the secondary, you can either use a melee, or you can use a pistol, or you can just change the wild card and use a secondary gun. It's up to you, but I personally prefer using melee. But then again, if you want to equip a pistol, I would prefer you use a machine pistol and not go for 50 GS, because while the chance of getting a hit mark with the NA45 is quite low, when it does happen, it's around 70 to 80 damage in most scenarios, and the machine pistol just finishes the job off much easier with lower effort compared to the 50 GS. Now, if you want to use a melee, I would prefer spear or prize fighters. Rest of the melees, just don't use them. It's not that great along with this weapon. But yeah, now when it comes to tacticals, just use whatever you like. Anything is fine really, so it doesn't change much. Now, coming to the gunsmith of the NA45, there are 2 attachments that I would say is very much mandatory for this gun, which being sleight of hand and the light trigger. Now, I would also prefer the RTC study stock over any other stocks due to, well, is this better? And one thing to note is that you should never build the NA45 for an ADS gun. So never turn this into a fast ADS gun, because the vertical recoil makes it impossible to shoot the second bullet. Now, the stock, you can go with any, you can go with the OWC, MP Light, or RTC, but generally I prefer this build right over here with the electromagnetic ammo to increase my detonation range, because the demo expert gives me the extra damage that I need to finish the kill, so I don't really need this high explosive ammo. The detonation range 1 just does the job. Now, before I show you guys some clips of the NA45, we need to talk about its damage profile. The NA45 does 30 damage on everywhere in the body except the head. So it's 30 for the first bullet, and it's the second bullet that confirms the kill, while the headshot is 100 damage. As you can see, that was 30, and when you confirm the kill, it's 168 damage, while the headshot is 100 in most cases. Now, if it's a blast kill and not a direct kill, the damage is 142. Moving on to how to use this weapon, NA45 is a rather versatile weapon, especially if you're someone who's having a hard time aiming. Why? Since the NA45 has a blast radius than a single bullet that's exploding, it means that you can shoot the ground or a general area around the person and you can confirm the kill. This is really helpful if you're low in HP and you're sitting in a corner and you hear an enemy rushing you, which means that before the enemy could even see you, you can shoot the ground, and when they come, you can shoot the second bullet before they can hit you. Now, using the NA45 requires hearing, proper hearing. You have to listen, because before you could even aim and shoot, if the enemy sees you, you're probably gonna die. It's because NA45's time to kill is not that great, so it's a bit of a slow ass gun. But if you predict where a person is going to be, this gun will get the job done before you could even see them. Now, you can see this in the clips that I'm about to show you after I have explained how to use this gun properly. Now, the only time you should ever aim at the enemy while using the NA45 is if they are in wide open. There are no walls, no cars, nothing around them. That should be the only time you should think of aiming at the enemy directly, or else it's always best to use the surroundings so that you never miss. Aiming at the enemy, the issue with it is because if you aim at the enemy and shoot, the projectile, i.e. the grenade, stick to the person, and when they are moving, the grenade moves, and so does the blast radius. So if you're standing still and shooting someone and the enemy moves, when you fire the second shot, it will miss if you don't have good aim. So generally it's best to shoot the ground. That way you never miss. Now, the neat thing about the NA45 is its unique ability to hip fire like a demon. Now, this is not a typical hip fire. The NA45's hip fire is a bit complex to use, but once you have mastered how to use this thing, you will never miss a hip fire kill. Now, the reason is that usually when you're firing with an SMG or LMG or AR, it's not guaranteed that your hip fire will hit. The second bullet, the third bullet, the fourth bullet, they don't go in the same pattern that the first bullet did. But when it comes to the NA45, while the case is still the same, the first bullet and the second bullet do not follow each other, but the radius of the first bullet make it so that wherever the second bullet goes, you always make sure to explode the grenade, which means I can hip fire over here, but you can clearly see the blast radius is so big that I can literally fire on my side and get the kill. This means that it's very versatile. Now I'm gonna show you a clip of me just killing these bots right now with hip fire. Now, since you've seen how the hip fire of this gun works, I'm gonna show you how this gun performs when you put together everything I just said.
Tango down. Changing mag, cover me. Target down. Lost the bomb. Enemy down. Target down.
मैच हो गए
Reload.
पीछे देख अंदर 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 तन में अंदर है वो
Target down.
नाइस
Enemy down. Mission.
वाओ
Sniper eliminated.
हाँ नाइस क्रॉस
Target down.
वो ऊपर वाला एक गोली गया ऊपर वाला एक गोली गया मार
Down.
नाइस मार दिया जल्दी जा जल्दी जा
Enemy down.
अंदर है अंदर है अंदर है
Enemy down. Changing mag.
So, I hope this guide has helped you guys understand how the NA45 works in general and how to use it in case you guys want to mess around. Now, I don't recommend using this gun all the time because in certain situations, this gun is really bad, especially in the maps like Crossfire. This gun just sucks on that map and sometimes even in raid. So, don't use it in every map, but yeah, do make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think of thought of the guide, and if there's anything, any other weapon that you might like a guide on, or general tips or anything. Let me know, and I'll make a video on it. So have a nice day and enjoy.